Welcome to Narratives and Nightcaps, Books, Beverages, and Author Conversations. We're back for a reading recap. I'm Bree.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Megan.
Gotta love it. We're pros at this by this point.
Pros.
We're just
Happy spooky season.
happy spooky season. Oh my gosh. And only 2 weeks to Halloween. I mean,
I know.
I'm
I
So-
love to Bree your bats. I think we talked about it in a previous episode, but those spooky bats that go up your fireplace are so cute.
Thank you. Yeah, my bats and my spider webs, that's about it though. Jared tells me I need to put in, he's like, you need to add something every single year. And I was like, I feel like my bats get the job done.
I feel like that's a lot of pressure. Like, what does he want you to add?
I don't know. I think he just looks around our neighborhood and he's like, wow, we're really slacking in the Halloween department. So, Megan has some sweet Halloween decorations up too. They look so good.
Thank you.
You have to show us some. I want to see pictures. That would be so
My
cool.
outside is kind of decorated. My inside I have done nothing because I haven't been home, it feels like, to actually get anything done.
Yeah, you haven't been home.
No.
Also, Emily hit 2K on Bookstagram. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I
Oh
was
my gosh.
out of the blue and so exciting. So it's I don't know, it's a milestone of sorts. I was pretty
Yeah,
excited
sure.
about it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Cheers to that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and before we get into our books, I do have to ask Jordan, how was Taylor Jenkins' read?
Yeah.
Oh my heck. Okay. She is so freaking funny. She's so funny. She's just really, really down to earth and super, super cool. And something that was really nice. So I live in Arapahoe County. This author event was put on by Douglas County, a sister county, but it was put on by Douglas County Libraries. And it was actually their event director who coordinated the whole thing, who sort of was the MC of the evening. And she interviewed Taylor Jenkins Reid. And it was just so much fun. Especially because she's hilarious. And she talked about how she grew up. She didn't really read a whole lot until she actually got to college. And that was kind of around the time that she decided, to pick up reading. She picked up reading before she picked up writing. And if I remember the story correctly, she also just kind of started writing to challenge herself. She was like, oh, a novel, that's easy. I can write this. And through that process, talking about all the things that she's learned and how she's grown, and then all of her various characters and books and different things like that, it was a real treat. There was a signing afterwards. I'm not gonna lie. Your grandma over here was struggling way too hard, and I was almost, I think, because you check in and you get a bookmark, and on your bookmark is your number for the line of the signing afterwards where you get to meet her, and I was pushing near 500, number 500, and I was like, yeah, unfortunately, that's not happening tonight. But I did get my signed copy of Atmosphere. So super, super happy and excited about that. And shout out to Kathleen and Catherine from my local book club here, because it was the three of us. We went to dinner beforehand and it was an excellent time. I absolutely loved it. So it was a ball.
I love that, Jordan. I love a little anecdote too that she's like, how hard can writing a novel be? And that's what got her into writing. And I think joke's on all of us because turns out she can write several great.
Well, and then when she talks about the research that she goes into, and I mean, listener, if you're listening to this as well, you probably listen to other podcasts, but Ellen Hildebrand has a podcast, Book Speech and Beyond, right? And she brings authors on there. And Emily Giffin today announced her 2026 book that's coming out that I'm super, super excited about. But I've heard authors talk about even pushing out a book a year, like,
It's a lot.
it's
A
a
lot.
It's
lot. It's a full
intense. It's
that
Yeah.
is that
super
Yeah.
intense.
that is your full-time job. So, you got these authors sometimes out there just pushing so many books out. I'm like, I have no idea how it's even possible. But
Well,
I'm
and
grateful.
normally, like if they have an established cadence, the book that they're pushing out is not the book that like they're already working on the next one.
Mhm.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
like they're already in a totally different mindset, maybe a different world, everything else, while they're marketing their like current book that they need that
Well,
they want to go out into the world too.
and isn't it similar for artists and musicians, right? I think Taylor Swift talked about how, I mean, Life of a Showgirl was a project that had been going on through eras, right? Like through the concert tour. Like it wasn't just, you know, it takes a lot. So, of course she didn't give anything away, but she will have something coming out 2026. So, I'm here for it. And
She's so kind.
it made me want to read, her catalog that I have not touched yet, right? Carrie Soto is back, Malibu Rising. I think there's maybe one or two more because I've really only read, I think, I've read four. I've read One True Loves, Daisy Jones, Evelyn Hugo, and Atmosphere. So I've read like those three major ones and one, smaller one, but yeah. Oh, and she did say, did you guys know this? Serena Williams picked up Carrie Soto is back.
What do you mean she
Wait,
picked it up?
Like she is producing.
To adapt, right? I
Yeah.
feel like I did see that.
No way.
That's
Yes.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Also, didn't know Serena Williams had a production company, so
Also
good for
didn't know
her.
that.
I
That's
know. I
a
was
double
super.
new
I was
news.
Yeah.
so. I know.
I
And
thought
then
you
of
meant
course,
she just picked it up like she's gonna start reading it and like
She's
I'm
gonna
like,
read
oh,
this.
good for her,
Like,
but no,
wild,
she's gonna
that's
like
wild.
produce it. Yeah. That's amazing.
yes. So, and then Atmosphere, of course, has been optioned. Evelyn Hugo's been in the works to come to film or TV for a long time.
Mhm.
She didn't really share kind of where that one's at. But
I think Forever Interrupted has been too, or at least
oh,
it's
really?
been optioned. I'm like pretty sure that it has been. I
Okay.
don't know where it stands, but
Oh, but yes, it was a great experience. And listeners, if you obviously are as hype as we are on authors, definitely get yourself out there and do it. It's so much fun.
oh, I think that's a really great point. I'll just say that. And like Taylor Jenkins Reid is huge, obviously, and the opportunity to see her is amazing. But like even just going to other indie bookstores and celebrating smaller authors or just authors that you enjoy is such a cool experience and it means the world to those authors. You can often like ask any question that you want. It's just a really, really cool experience if you have the opportunity to go to or just follow along with your indie bookstores or even like your local Barnes and Noble will have authors come in. All of those things is
Yep.
highly recommend.
Yeah, actually, even like 2 weeks maybe before Taylor Jenkins Reid was out here, a lesser, I feel so weird saying that, like a lesser well-known author, but it's a lesser well-known author who's local to our county here. I wasn't able to go, but a few of my girlfriends from my book club got to go to one of our indie bookstores and support a local author. And and they talked about it at book club, and it means so much to them when they get the opportunity to
It's
meet
a really great way
people in the
to
wild.
support writers and support indie bookstores. So
Yes.
like
Yes,
in one.
100%.
It also just adds, I know we've got other books, but it just adds to, I mean, as a reader, like it supports the author. The author really enjoys it. But for me, it also as a reader brings another element to enjoying that story because I get to talk to the
sure.
author. It adds a whole nother dimension to it. And it's a two-way street. I think it's both as a reader and an author really cool when you get to connect like in real life
It gives
on
you
the
such
story.
serious respect for their research too, right? Especially when she was talking about Atmosphere. Like,
Oh, I can only imagine.
Was like, "You mean that, like, you were" she was reading dissertations and panels and having to understand the physics of how things work in space and whatnot too, right? Like,
I
it
think
just
about books
insane.
like that, like, I put Atmosphere in that category. I would put The Martian or Project Hail Mary, like, those books that are fiction, but heavily, like, science-y, not science, with
Yes.
it, and I follow along in the story, but what the author had to learn to write it in a way that the layman reader, right, can follow, and it still works is a skill not many people have.
I'm about to put Alchemize in that category. I already have actually because like this
Goodness.
I yeah, okay. Well, we could literally spend the entire podcast with you guys just listening to Emily and I like go on and on about that. But that goes in
100%
that
though,
category for
for
sure.
sure.
Holy. Okay, let's jump in. Megan, I'm so excited to hear you talk about the book that you're starting with.
Okay. This one, Brie, you actually gave me, and I like finished it as soon as I got home. This is borrowed from the bookshelf of Brie. It's We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. And I really wanted to read this before I watched the show because, of course, I was watching The Summer I Turned Pretty. And then every time an episode ended, it was like, if you liked that, you should watch this. And I was like, I know this is a book, so I need to read the book first. Unlike The Summer I Turned Pretty, which I also know is a book series, and I did not read that. Whatever.
I feel like they go in the same category. Like this one you definitely needed to read before you
Yes. So I, of course, used Goodreads to recap this, and it is a very short and sweet summary, but I feel like it does it justice without giving anything away. So here's the recap. A beautiful and distinguished family, a private island, a brilliant, damaged girl, a passionate political boy, a group of friends, four friends, the liars, whose friendship turns destructive, a revolution, an accident, a secret, lies upon lies, true love, the truth. We Were Liars is a modern, sophisticated suspense novel from best-selling author, National Book Award finalist, and Prince Award honoree E. Lockhart. Read it, and if anyone asks you how it ends, just lie.
Ooh,
Ooh.
love that
literally
summary.
gives you chills. It's so
Yeah.
Yeah.
good.
So I honestly had a really hard time finding a good summary that left it so open-ended like this because everything else I was finding was like, here's the spark notes on like the entire plot. And I'm like, I just need just a brief overview so that we can talk about it. But um I wanted to read this, like I said, before I watched the series, and I went in book first. I don't really know that much about it. I keep seeing ads here and there, but I never really dug into what it was about. And this book absolutely did not disappoint. I feel like this was just not at all what I expected it to be because I feel like from the visuals that you see from all the previews, it just looks like it's supposed to be some hoity-toity, like, oh, we're on the beach and we're rich and everything's so luxurious. And then you start reading this book and you're like, holy shit. I said, quote, my jaw was on the floor. The plot twists in this novel were insane, like absolutely did not see this coming. I literally cried, and I'm not much of a crier, about like the reality of what actually happened in this novel compared to this reality that you're featured versus like what is actually known. And it just goes beyond what anyone would have assumed to be like a wealthy, bratty summer and just completely turns it on its head. So I will say, after reading this, knowing what I know now, I am a little bit nervous to watch the series because I really, really, really liked this book and I liked my visuals of how everything turned out. So I'll be very curious how it plays on screen. But I don't think I'll be disappointed. But I just, I feel like this is a must read. I almost put this in our Halloween category, believe it or not, because there are some elements that I was like, this could count. This could count toward that. So if
There you
that
go.
leaves you any wonderings about what this is about, I would highly recommend.
Megan,
Wow.
that was an awesome review. I'm so intrigued by this book. I also, though, love seeing Bree's facial expressions as
Yes.
you were giving that
That's
review
I'm so
because
glad I wasn't
it
the only one
it
watching.
completely was
Like,
like, Oh, yes, and I know. Oh, and it was epic. Like, that was just well timed.
It was very cute. It was very, very cute.
This one too, like when you said it, you were like, "Oh, like what about that book?" And I'm like, "Just take it. I can tell you nothing. I shall give you no information.
You really didn't.
Take
Just
it.
take it."
Wow.
Take it. Take it and
Mhm.
find out for yourself. So that's the advice I'm going to give the listeners, you gals who have not read it yet. Take it, read it, figure it out for yourselves because this was very surprising in a very good way, I thought.
So is it
It's
a thriller? I have to ask.
So I feel like they're labeling it as like suspense. I would say if you want to name it a thriller, it's a slow burn. Like
Okay.
it's a very, you get a lot of um kind of like dual timelines. So the novel flashes between um the main character like living in the present as it is now and then reflecting on like Summer's past. And all of those kind of add up at the end to give you this slow burn suspense thriller that has a huge I honestly like huge plot twist. Huge.
lit.
So
Like
let me I gotta add on the scale of like 1 to twisty, where does this fall compared to The Silent Patient and The Housemaid?
Honestly, I feel like it's kind of on par with those 2.
Ooh,
Like
okay.
it's a pretty big like
Like complete
yes,
twist.
and you're
Yeah.
gonna be like it'll be like slam your hands like, "What the fuck did I just read?" Like it
Both of
is
yes.
both of those
yes,
were what the fuck did I just read?
yes.
Hands on the
Literally,
table.
like, so I remember when I read this, I was on a plane and I set it down because I was like, what just happened? Like, I was like, I was like, is that real? Like, did I make this up in my head? Like, what just happened? And what was crazy to me too is then like when they put it on Amazon and I like chef's kiss them for the way that they promoted it because all these people that haven't read the book were like, oh my gosh, it's like the summer I turned pretty and all these like rich,
Yes.
beautiful people
You're
are
like,
going to their beach house. And I was like, mm,
You're
get
like,
ready.
"Oh, but wait."
you're
Like,
like,
you don't even know.
no.
Yeah. I was like, these people are in for some sort of like crazy awakening. Yes, it is an unforgettable read,
Oh, yes.
especially like
Wow.
once
Wow.
with the way that this story unfolds, you won't forget it.
And I like to add on to that too, I love when you read something like that and then all of a sudden all the little pieces fall into place and you're just like, this whole thing, this whole time, it now all makes sense. As soon as that plot twist happens, you're like, "Yep, there it is. This is how it happened. Got it." So, yes, I must read. And I think it is appropriate for spooky season if you want to add it to. It is definitely like a summertime book. So if you love a summer thriller, definitely that vibe. If you like a fall thriller and just want to keep reflecting on summer, this vibe too. Either way.
If you live in Florida and it's still really hot and not fall vibes, it's a great
Also
one.
what?
Yes, it's perfect. Okay. And also, I'll update you guys on how I feel about the show if and when I
Please
decide to
do.
watch it.
Please do.
Please do.
Okay, my next book, this has been on my TBR forever.
I'm
Demon
so
Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. So this I audiobooked, as you guys know. I started this on the plane ride home from Florida. Got approximately like 3 minutes into one chapter. Couldn't continue because of children, but I was finally able to finish it. Um, just a heads up, this is a 21-hour audiobook.
That's a commitment.
21 hours. So I listened to it on 1.4 speed. That
There you
helped
go.
a lot. But yeah, so just go in. I mean, it's a thick book, as you probably know, but it's a thick listen too. So to set it up, set in the mountains of southern Appalachia, this is the story of a boy born to a teenage single mother in a single wide trailer with no assets beyond his dead father's good looks and copper-colored hair, a caustic wit, and a fierce talent for survival. In a plot that never pauses for breath, played in his own unsparing voice, he braves the modern perils of foster care, child labor, derelict schools, athletic success, addiction, disastrous loves, and crushing losses. Through it all, he reckons with his own invisibility in a popular culture where even the superheroes have abandoned rural people in favor of cities. This part I did not know. about the book. So I just thought it was insightful to continue to add this in. Many generations ago, Charles Dickens wrote David Copperfield from his experience as a survivor of institutional poverty and its damages to children in his society. These problems have yet to be solved in ours. Fact. Dickens is not a prerequisite for readers of this novel, but he provided the inspiration. So I feel like this kind of goes back to when we talked about James. This, you don't necessarily have to read Huck Finn, but if you did, it kind of all ties together.
Mhm.
This is similar vein. So you don't have to read David Copperfield, but I think the themes and the trends will definitely go between both books. In transposing a Victorian epic novel to the contemporary American South, Barbara Kingsolver enlists Dickens' anger and compassion, and above all, his faith in the transformative powers of a good story. Demon Copperhead speaks for a new generation of lost boys and all those born into beautiful, cursed places they can't imagine leaving behind.
I have like goosebumps from that
Yes.
summary
Same.
alone.
It was this was incredible. So I just want to start off by saying, pick up this book. Trigger warnings abound. I mean, there is everything. There is death, addiction, loss, child abuse, miscarriage, like everything you can think of. Put a label on it, trigger warning. So I summarized this in my review as like Breaking Bad meets Holes meets Nurse Jackie meets Dope Sick. So all four of those kind of combined. It was just, this book was insane. It was stunning. It was heart shattering. It's just about a boy who truly just wants to be loved and wants his mom more than anything. And growing up in rural Virginia, he watches his entire town basically slip away into addiction. It reminds me a lot of the Netflix docu-series. I don't know if you guys ever watched it. I think it was popular kind of over COVID. The Pharmacist. Does that ring any bells? It's a real life, docu-series, like I mentioned, about a pharmacist, but basically he watches his town become so addicted and dope sick to Oxy that he was kind of one of the whistleblowers to finally be like, we have a problem. Like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep prescribing this medication that's killing people. And so this story very much kind of follows those lines. And, obviously it's fiction, but it highlights the lows and the desperation of addiction and the truly despicable institution that is the foster care system, especially in rural areas where there's seemingly no laws and no rules about the regulation of children. And equally, it's about the fight for this one boy to survive against all odds. And I feel like it was just so beautifully done. The only complaint I have is the ending. So if you guys read it and you get to that point at the end, let me know. I don't know if it's because I listened to it via audiobook, and maybe if I would have reread it with my own eyes, I could have come to a better conclusion or justification in my head. But I just, like, the whole story was just incredible, incredible, incredible. And then the end, I was like, huh. So I would still, like, to me, this is absolutely a 5-star read. Despite the ending, like, go in. This is an insane book. Again, I also went into this one pretty blind. I knew it was going to be a big one. I had no idea it was this big. So, I just would be curious what you guys think about the ending, if and when you get to this on your TBRs too, because I was just a little, huh.
It's been on my TBR for so long, and I'm so glad that you brought it to the podcast because it needs to be shared for sure. And I did use an Audible credit, and I have the Audible. So
You'll have to let
honestly,
me know too what you think if you do Audible, what you think of the narrator, because
okay,
like
I will.
I'll just pre-warn you, I was not prepared for it. I thought it was just going to be because it was written by a female author, so for some reason I thought it was going to be a female narrator. No, it's obviously the voice of the male character. And then it's very like rural Virginia twang, like it's very Southern accent heavy. So I was like, oh, this is not what I thought I was going to listen to, but it grows on you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm super curious.
That would be rather jarring to think you're gonna like those are kind of two opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Mhm.
not
No,
preview before you buy them?
what?
Do you not preview before you get them?
I tell you, I go in blind all the
You
way, everything,
commit.
all the time.
Megan,
Well,
I can do like
she's expressed before that that's her preference. I
Yeah.
feel like she's said, like, she doesn't because I recently caught on
this.
to that with Audible too. I was like,
I did
"Oh,
the
you
preview.
can preview, and
Yeah.
it gives you, like, 3 to 4 minutes or, like, 3.5 minutes or
Mhm.
whatever."
Yeah, I
And
have
so
to.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
No,
It's a
I'm
non-negotiable.
it
I'm
No, I
with you.
do as well. I do as well. So I will say, and I don't know if Emily's gonna agree with me on this, just because. Well, I don't know if Bree will as well. But I'm so not intimidated by a 20-hour audiobook. Like that's not because listen, I'm I'm still determined to complete the Outlander series, right? Those audiobooks are literally like over 40 hours.
Okay, hold on, question on that. Are they in Scottish accent?
Yes. The narrator is fantastic.
Can you understand the narrator?
Yes.
So
No, I
I
do.
would say
Yes.
with Outlander, like,
Now,
so I watched season 1 before I read the books,
okay.
and I felt like having watched the show helped me to read
Help a little bit.
the yeah.
Well, interesting.
I'm finding what helps me. I love the audiobook and I feel like the narrator really does grip me and whatnot. The language can get a little bit confusing sometimes. So the benefit to me is if I can borrow the Kindle, if I can borrow the ebook on Libby, then I can pull it up and I can go to the word or like the phrase that I'm confused by, and it'll pop up,
So when
the
they're like
Wikipedia
"Dinesh,"
and the
you're like, "Okay."
definition.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I wanna say Jared and I, but it's mainly me. Um, because I watched so much Outlander and read like um I will say things to him that are like I'm constantly like, "Oh, you can." I'm like, "Do
You
you
can,
can?" And
you can.
I'm like, "Dinefesh," like Dinefesh, and he knows what I'm saying, but like other people don't, obviously. And there was somewhere recently, I don't remember what, and I was talking to him and I was like, "You can?" And he responded and he was like, "Yeah." And the other person was like, "Well, I can too." And I was like,
You're like, "No, we're not saying that."
I'm not
yeah, I
saying
was like,
that.
"Yeah, I didn't say you could do anything. I said you can."
Please tell me, like, Sassenach, does that come up at all?
Oh no, I would say we don't do that. I just like well, it's natural now, but I'll just like throw in a Yakin or a Dinefash. Those are my two go-tos.
Right.
I like it.
Um,
Well,
I
and
like
you
it.
can is easy, right?
Yakin
It's
is
just
easy,
like,
like yeah.
but oh my gosh, that's too funny.
And then
That's
I just watched Blood in My Blood, so like it's definitely back because
With full force.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. No, but it's so true to kind of end or round out that point. A narrator can make or break a,
For sure.
a lot of that. I think I've brought this to the pod before. I can't remember. But Julia Whalen, right? She narrates like all of Emily Henry's books. Nothing against her. Love her narration. I love Emily Henry. I can't combine the two. For whatever reason, for me, it's just difficult and it's not my preference. But wow.
I one more note, and I can't remember if I brought this up here before, but there's an audiobook, and I think I talked about the book on one of our reading recaps. And it was like a World War II novel.
Mhm.
And I did the audiobook for it, and I didn't dislike the narrator, but I was like, something about her voice just like I was like, she's just not clicking for me in this story. Like it's not bad, but something's not right. And I was like, but she sounds really familiar too. Like I was like, why is this so off? And then one day I was driving and I was like, oh my goodness. It's because she's the narrator for the Kingdom of the Wicked book, which is like a fantasy witchy tale. And I was like, no wonder I'm like, these don't mesh together, and I'm like, I'm so connected your voice to this like fantasy series that now this World War II setting is just not mixing.
Not doing it.
To separate it just doesn't
Yeah.
work.
I will
That's
say, I think some books, and we've already talked about this, and I don't want to belabor it because I know Jordan, you're up next, are better as eyeball books versus
yes,
audiobooks.
it's true.
Like, I know, Jordan, I was sharing this with you earlier this week. I started a new audiobook last week that I was
Yes.
super excited about. It's a new release, like I've seen it everywhere, and I think I'm gonna have to DNF the audiobook. Not because the narrator's not good or anything. It's just like it has not captured like my
Just
interest.
not working.
Mm,
Yeah, and it's a multi, timeline story. I think perhaps the complexity of the story, it's harder to follow as an audiobook versus an eyeball book.
sure.
But I'm curious if I DNF the audiobook and then go come back later and pick up the physical book, will I have a different experience? Stay tuned.
Or will you read with her voice in your head?
Well, I'd be forever stuck with that voice in my head. But I don't
Yes.
know. I think sometimes that some books are better maybe in one format or another, but I'd be
Yeah.
curious,
It's true.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's
But
so
Megan,
true.
my hat goes off to you for like just diving in full bore. That's impressive.
Yeah. So if you want to pick it up, it says Southern Boy reading it, but it's pretty dang good. It's
I really
good. It's really good.
I really want to read it. I do. And I'll be sure to let you know how I read it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like that one will make a difference. Like
Okay.
eyeball read versus listen.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit, Bree kind of brought up World War II. I did bring a historical fiction for us today to the recap. So let me tell you, ladies and the listeners, about and introduce to you The Kitchen Front by Jennifer Ryan. Here's the setup. 2 years into World War II, Britain is feeling her losses. The Nazis have won battles, the Blitz has destroyed cities, and U-boats have cut off the supply of food. In an effort to help housewives with food rationing, a BBC radio program called The Kitchen Front is holding a cooking contest. And the grand prize is a job as the program's first ever female co-host. For 4 very different women, winning the contest would present a crucial chance to change their lives. For a young widow, it's a chance to pay off her husband's debts and keep a roof over her children's head. For a kitchen maid, it's a chance to leave servitude and find freedom. For a lady of the manor, it's a chance to escape her wealthy husband's increasingly hostile behavior. And for a trained chef, it's a chance to challenge the men at the top of her profession. These 4 women are giving the competition their all, even if that sometimes means bending the rules. But with so much at stake, will the contest that aims to bring the community together only serve to break it apart? So, as far as historical fiction is concerned, I thought this one was absolutely wonderful. Fun fact, this was actually a BBC radio program of the time. This is what they did. They would have housewives, they would have women come on, talk about different ideas and ways that you could get creative with your rations, right? Because you only had so much. So, what are you going to do with so little that you have? And the book even includes recipes and gives you like these. I don't know that necessarily that I would encourage trying them. They didn't all sound great. I'm not gonna lie. That's not so much of a spoiler, to be completely honest. But I will say the storytelling in this was just so good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It does have that classic feel good sort of cozy element that you want oftentimes with a historical fiction. And based off of that fact, right, that this was a real BBC radio show, I mean, you can tell not only did Jennifer Ryan do her homework, but she really did, attempt to pull from real life experiences. And It was a really nice transition for me into fall. I read this, a couple weeks back, a few weeks back, transitioning from September to October, from summer to fall. And I would say that if you're kind of like me and you want sort of those books that help you ease into a season, that help you transition into the season, I definitely brought some of those for the recap today. So that was The Kitchen Front by Jennifer Ryan.
Jordan, that sounds so fun. It reminds me a little bit as you were describing it. Do you follow, I'm going to totally blank on his name, the gentleman that does all of the like old recipes?
I was just gonna bring that
Yes.
up. Yes.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, and he has
Maybe.
2 cookbooks, or at least 1 cookbook that came out, and it's like,
Okay.
I'm gonna send it through, and I feel so bad that I can't remember his handle on here. But I made one of his recipes that was from like the 1940s that is ice cream bread. So kind of the idea that like you have leftover vanilla ice cream. This sounds like this book, right? That you have leftover
Yes.
vanilla
No,
ice
this
cream,
would, yes.
and
this
then
would
you literally
absolutely.
just put ice cream in a loaf like pan and bake it, and it turns into white bread. I
Very
know.
interesting.
Well, what's the
Mind blown.
science behind that? Because that's insane.
I think he may have added one little thing, but like, or a little
Wow.
bit of flour or something, but everything in it's mind blowing. And it just sounds like this book, as you were like reading through the recap, I'm going, this sounds exactly like this. I'll send it through and we'll share it on the pod. But
Please do. Yeah.
it's super fun, and ice cream bread is a thing. I don't know.
It's and I want to say, I mean, this book goes down super easy too. I think it's less than like 325, like 350 pages. So it's a real easy, fast read. I doubled up on this because I have Spotify Premium, so I use audiobook listening hours on Spotify. And then I also had it on my Kindle. So I was transitioning, and I found that simple and easy enough to do with this story. Even with the multiple POVs and different things like that. So it was very, very good.
Very cool.
Yes. Yes.
I like the inclusion of the old recipes. I feel like
It was,
do point
yes.
like that guy, or maybe there's another guy. I feel like there's a couple different reels that I've seen on Instagram that they'll do like a bunch of different like I feel like there's even maybe a couple that does old recipes too. And I swear to God, like 99% of it is like something in Jello. Like everything is like in
I've seen
a
those.
gelatin mold.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Ugh.
It'll help preserve it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, something like that.
I love it.
Oh my
That's too
gosh, I don't
funny.
know the last time I had anything Jello.
I
I
don't
was actually literally like, I haven't had Jello in like,
maybe like a Jello shot, but like that's been a long time.
So yeah.
there you
It's
go.
been a second.
It's a texture thing. Like I don't make Jello at home. It grosses me out.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm not about it.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Okay, so my second book to keep us rolling here, another one that was a really excellent kind of summer to fall sort of transition, if you will. I read A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. Here's the setup. Sarah Swan used to be one of the most powerful witches in Britain. Then she resurrected her great aunt Jasmine from the very recently dead, lost most of her magic, befriended a semi-villainous talking fox, and was exiled from her guild. Now, she, slightly reluctantly, and just a bit grumpily, helps Jasmine run an enchanted inn in Lancashire, where she deals with her quirky guests' shenanigans, tries to keep said talking fox in check, and longs for the future that seems lost to her. But then she finds out about an old spell that could hold the key to restoring her power. Enter Luke Larson, handsome and icy magical historian, who arrives on a dark winter evening and just might know how to unlock the spell's secrets. Luke has absolutely no interest in getting involved in the madcap goings-on of the inn, and is definitely not going to let a certain bewitching innkeeper pass his wiles. So no one is more surprised than he is when he agrees to help Sarah with her spell. Worse, he might actually be thawing. Running an inn, reclaiming lost magic, and staying one step ahead of the Watchful Guild is a lot for anyone. But Sarah Swan is about to discover that she doesn't have to do it alone, and that the weird, wonderful family she's made might be the best magic of all. So, on the cozy scale, this is like, I mean, top notch. Oh, so much fun. And I will say, I did go into this. So, Sangu Mandana's other super popular book is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Definitely recommend reading that. You do not have to, this is not a series. You can read them standalone. There's a lot of confusion going on out there about like whether or not these are connected. The only way that they're honestly connected is that they're in the same world. There's maybe a little bit of overlapping with like a character here or an Easter egg there, kind of a thing, not really giving anything away, but like either one of these can be read on their own. That being said, I enjoyed them both tremendously. And I just loved, I mean, this was the coziest thing I could have asked for transitioning into fall season. It was so, so good. Also, another 4 out of 5 stars. And I want to give props, major props to the character that was the inn itself, because just that in and of like we're talking near borderline like Hogwarts status for Harry Potter, right? Like the way that the castle became its own safe haven, its own character, it had its personality, right? You see a lot of that with this book as well, and I loved that so so much. And I had a lot of fun reading this one. So that
Jordan,
was
I'm getting like Encanto vibes. Maybe because I'm
ooh,
watching it,
kind
like
of.
these
Yeah.
days, but like with the shutter that waves, you know, the house that like is totally alive and you know gives them their shoes and like
Um,
waves goodbye and
oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember. Um, the house would rain apple tea. Something to that effect. Like I can't remember exactly what it was. It might not have been apple tea, but like at a certain hour at a certain time there was one room that just had a terrestrial downpour, but it wasn't water. It's just such funny little things. And the talking fox is great. The talking fox is a lot of fun. They bring a lot of comic relief to the book as well. So it's a very cute one. I highly recommend.
Sounds like it. I wanted to read The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. That one's been on my TBR, so I didn't
I'm
realize
not
there was
saying I would recommend
another
that
one.
one more. I mean, I'm saying I had such a great time, such a fun time reading both of them. Um I probably would go with Irregular Witches, honestly. I think I would. I think I'd say, definitely read that one. I mean, but you can read either of them and they're just so good.
You heard it here first.
You already Jordan can't take it back.
I did.
But
Too
yeah.
fun.
Those are my
Well, I'm just gonna continue the cozy vibes.
I'm so excited that you brought this one. I can't wait to hear.
I'm excited that I did bring this one, but I have like two incredibly cozy. And Megan, I took a page out of your book, and I've got physical copies. um, but no, I know we're doing a more Halloween spooky vibe episode a little bit later this month, and so I saved all of my traumatic, spooky, creepy, like actual spooky ones for that episode. But
We're gonna talk, listener.
in
We're
order
gonna
of reading, these were my spooky palate cleansers. So we're going to talk about these today.
let's do it.
So The Spell Shop is the first one, by Sarah Beth Durst. And I had a friend recommend this. We were in the bookshop and I can't resist a good sprayed edge. It's too pretty. So, it's her first book and the first book of hers that I've read. But she's got now an Enchanted Greenhouse and then a third book coming out next year. Um, these are adorable in the best way. So let me get through the summary. Thank you, Goodreads, as always, for these summaries. So the spell shop. Kiela has always had trouble dealing with people. Thankfully, as a librarian at the Great Library of Elysium, she and her assistant Kaz, a magically sentient spider plant, have spent the last decade sequestered among the Empire's most precious spellbooks, preserving their magic for the city's elite. When a revolution begins and the library goes up in flames, she and Kaz flee with all the spellbooks they can carry and head to a remote island Kiela never thought she'd see again, her childhood home. Taking refuge there, Kiela discovers, much to her dismay, a nosy and very handsome neighbor who can't take a hint and keeps showing up day after day to make sure she's fed and to help her fix up her new home. In need of income, Kiela identifies something that even the bakery in town doesn't have: jam. With the help of an old recipe book her parents left her and a bit of illegal magic, her cottage garden is soon covered in ripe berries. But magic can do more than make life a little sweeter. So Kiela risks the consequences of using unsanctioned spells and opens the island's first ever and much needed secret spell shop. Like Hallmark rom-com full of mythical creatures and fueled by cinnamon rolls, magic, and raspberry jam, the spell shop will heal your heart and feed your soul. And it is so true. I have to laugh at the quote like at the top of this, the cover.
What
that
does it
says
say?
It says this book will sweep readers into a world of merhorses, illegal spells, and first loves. It's as comforting as homemade jam on a fresh baked muffin. And it pretty much sums up like the tone. As I said, it was a palate cleanser. It was a very lovely, like happy, I say must read, but I put it squarely in the cozy, romanticy category. It just makes you feel good. Every page is like happiness coming out of there. So as I said, this is my first cozy romantasy. I didn't know that was a separate genre, and now I'm like have gone headfirst into this subgenre, whatever you want to call it. Kaz, the sentient spider plant, as a sidekick, is hysterical. I don't know why we all don't have sentient houseplants that are sidekicks throughout the day. There's also a cactus. This just had me cracking up in the middle of the story. There's a cactus that is enchanted that just yells, "Meep!" like randomly in the conversation. Kind of remind of Groot a little bit. Like that was his only line in the entire book. Yeah, exactly. But on the cuter side.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's, found family vibes. It's there is romance involved, merhorses, enchanted plants. It's whimsical. It's heartwarming. I would say the plot is not very complicated. You probably could see where it's going based on the summary alone. Sorry, Megan, there's no plot twists. Like there was no like hands on the table moment in this particular book. But it's cute. So I would recommend reading. I definitely have plans to read The Enchanted Greenhouse, perhaps after Alchemized when I need another happy ending. Then I think it's Sea of Charms is coming out next year. But highly recommend just if you want a cute, cozy, fun, not scary, spooky book.
Ugh, I love
I'm
it.
obsessed with the cover of it.
It's
so
beautiful. I was looking at the next two in the series. All these covers are so pretty. They're
Stunning.
beautiful.
Stunning.
Absolutely. And you'll get Brie with that sprayed edge too.
I know. I can't walk past a good sprayed edge.
Emily goes above and beyond, I will say, to get a sprayed edge. I don't know if Megan and Jordan know that, but I like full on told strangers about it, Emily, because I was carrying Alchemize. Okay, story time.
Story
I was
time.
carrying
Yes.
Alchemize around because we're reading it, and so I can't go anywhere without it right now because I'm like, well, what if I have 30 seconds to read this? And I was in this bookstore and these girls stopped and they were like, "Oh my gosh, did you buy that copy here?" And I was like, "No, I brought it with me." It's actually the German version in English. And they were like, "Wait, what?" And I go, "Yeah, long story." I was like, "But my friend and I are buddy reading it, and I was like, and I ordered, like, I went to go order the Waterstone version and it was sold out, and so I ordered the regular version, but she knew that I had to have like the really cool sprayed edge version, so she ordered this one, and they were like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, and so then we went on this whole thing about like manacled and alchemized and all of that, but
I love
it's
that.
it's
The
so
oth
gorgeous.
the other side of that story, we'll just add the story time is, so Megan and Jordan, right, Alchemized in the US doesn't have the sprayed edges. So when you went to pre-order, it's just like plain white edges. And me being me, I was like, "Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Are we not gonna be the country that doesn't have the sprayed edge, like, edition?" So I went deep into the interwebs, and found that the UK had a special edition that you could pre-order. So I placed a pre-order and shared that with Bree, but then the pre-order sold out. And so me being me again, I said, "Oh, hell no," and went back into the interwebs and found like I switched my IP address and was able to order from like German Amazon basically to get the sprayed
My
edge.
gosh.
So you weren't wrong, Jordan, when you said that I will go to certain lengths for a good sprayed edge.
It was
True.
literally the best surprise.
So, is it like the English translation of the German novel? Because now I'm just curious, like, what if it's what if it's like slightly, like if you do Google Translate and you like try to translate it back and it's like that's not really the phrase that I was looking for. Like, is it like that, or is it still the American version?
That was my concern, Megan, that, like, I would send Bree a book in German that is
Yeah,
1,000
yes.
pages of German. She'd be like, "Well, thanks, but no thanks." But
I
go ahead,
mean,
Bree.
like, this looks great. I can't
This looks
actually
great.
understand
Yeah.
any of it.
Exactly.
Thanks for the copy. Cannot read it.
I'm gonna read it.
No, I think like, I think they had an English version, like, that released out there, not a translated version.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think the German version would be the translated, like, in
Yeah,
English
it
originally.
would be translated
Oh,
from that
sure.
because it was written in
Right.
English.
Okay.
It is in English, though. I don't know, Bree, you're
It
not
is
reading the
it's in
German.
English, I've been able to read the whole thing. Well, not
Perfect. I love that story. That's awesome. That's also a doorstopper of a book to be carrying around. Like,
yeah, but I have to.
understand. Understood.
You
Yeah.
said, "But I'll do it."
But I'll do it. Yeah.
Well, so I was with my friend Robert too, and like at one point I had to go to the bathroom, and so by this point I had my book, a small gift from him, and my leftovers from brunch, and I was like, "Here, hold this. I have to go to the bathroom." And I like came out, and he was like, "This is kind of heavy." Yeah,
Heavy.
it's a big book.
Oh my gosh.
Love it. Well, my second cozy witchy book is The Late Night Witches. This just the cover again, like made me
So
happy.
fun.
So
Um,
cute.
so cute. Again, it is not that long. This took me like I think a couple of days, honestly. But The Late Night Witches by Orly Wallace. Let's get into the review. Thank you, Goodreads. Casey Beckett's life is anything but magical. With a wild younger sister, 3 unruly kids, and an absent husband, she's really not looking forward to the witching month of October. At least the gorgeous, foggy Prince Edward Island is always quiet. That is, until the vampires arrive. As the creatures sink their teeth into Casey's tenuous grip on normalcy, she's forced to come face to face with long disregarded family secrets. The legacy gifts her with power, but also a lofty goal to rid the island of vampires or let them win. Both options suck, pun intended, in more ways than one. Armed with her family, newfound trials, and a baby in a spectacularly garlicky onesie, Casey must learn what it is to be a witch and how to fight for what she loves before time runs out. Because on Halloween night, the stakes will be higher than ever before, and it's up to Casey to finish what the witches that came generations before her started.
Wow.
So this is also, I will say, it's not a complicated plot. You probably will guess where this is headed, like from just the summary alone. But it's really fun. This is Gilmore Girls sass. I hear in the notes, Gilmore Girls sass and Hocus Pocus thrills, like wrapped up in a big Prince Edward Island, I think Carly Fortune, like foggy setting, right?
Sounds like
So
right up my alley.
it 100% is. Like there's nothing scary. It is witches and vampires, but there's absolutely nothing terrifying about these vampires or these witches, or it's more comedy than anything else. Um, So, no, I think it's funny because there's her sister comes in to support her with, so Casey learns that she's a like 13th witch in this long generation and has to battle the vampires that come to the island. So she's got kind of a found family between her long lost aunt, her sister that's a bit of a hot mess coming in, her neighbor that has a crush on her, and it's a fun. Her kids get in on it, like teaching the baby to go after vampires. I just enjoyed it. Again, I read it right after a bit of a heavier read, so it was a nice, fun, on season theme, but nothing too taxing or deep in that respect. But it was fun. Would recommend.
I love that. That does sound so, so good.
You guys are making me want like a cozy Halloween read.
I'm telling you, we're
Right?
giving you lots of options. We're giving you lots of options.
And I'm probably gonna need like some happiness in my life here here in the next few days. Um, I'll have to come back to this episode for sure to pick it out. So
There you go.
awesome. All right, well, I'm gonna take us in a different direction for these last two books to round us out. Um, Starting with Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. And this is, of course, the Goodreads recap. Lucy and Savvy were the golden girls of their small Texas town, pretty, smart, and enviable. Lucy married a dream guy with a big ring and an even bigger new home. Savvy was a social butterfly loved by all, and if you believe the rumors, especially popular with the men in town. But after Lucy is found wandering the streets covered in her best friend Savvy's blood, everyone thinks she's a murderer. It's been years since that horrible night, a night Lucy can't remember anything about, and she has since moved to LA and started a new life. But now the phenomenally huge hit true crime podcast, Listen for the Lie, and its two good-looking hosts, Ben Owens, have decided to investigate Savvy's murder for the show's second season. Lucy is forced to return to the place she vowed never to set foot in again to solve her friend's murder, even if she is the one who did it. The truth is out there if we just listen. Megan, you've read this, haven't you? Yeah. Okay, well, first things first. So I did the audiobook for this one, and I highly recommend as an audiobook because the podcast plays like an actual podcast. And so, like, there's intro music to it, and like the way that it's written is, like, oh, and this is Listen for the Lie with Ben Owens. Today I'm talking with so and so who's from the town and knew Savvy and Lucy, and then you'll have a different narrator come in and like be the voice through the interview. So it literally sounds like a podcast. I mean, to the point that I was like, am I now listening to like Payne Lindsay in his podcast? So highly recommend listening to it if you would like to. It really brings the story to life. All that said, though, this story has the messiest of messy characters, a very compelling mystery, and ample sarcasm and dry humor. So I will say, it is kind of one of those psychological thrillers where, like, if you don't like the dark humor that goes with it, then you maybe won't like it. I personally do enjoy that. So, had all the things I like, I would say add it to your TBR if you are in the mood for a mystery or thriller. I would also say that this is a really good mystery for a book club. Like the discussions that you could have with this one. So, would highly recommend if you have any October, November book clubs coming up and you're still trying to figure out what exactly to read.
I love that. That's awesome. I appreciate the recommendation for audio. I back when I had Book of the Month subscription, I picked this as a Book of the Month, so I have a physical copy. And that was actually back at the time before I kind of got into audiobooks, so I wouldn't have even considered. But it does almost make me think of another book that kind of has that podcast element into it is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. And I did not read that one on audiobook. I also had a physical copy, but I'll bet you that that would be a really good one on audio as well for that reason. So I appreciate this. I need to push this one up for sure.
I really enjoyed it. Megan, what did you think when you read it?
I I feel like honestly the book 2 does a really good job of highlighting like this is supposed to play out as a podcast. Like I feel like if you were to read it to yourself out loud, you would have the same or similar vibe of like, clearly there's like, this is your host Ben, blah blah blah, and like it. So I feel like it does a really good job of going into that there as well. I this was I read this in a series of other books that all had lie somewhere in the title, and so I feel like at one point I was like, I don't even remember which book is which anymore, but so many of them do, and so,
With a lot
that
of those similar titles, it's so hard to keep straight.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad that you brought this, Brie, because I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I do remember that one," but I mean, I read it, I mean, probably either late last year or the beginning of this year, and it was a really good one, so
I mean,
definitely recommend.
it's a classic mystery. So if you
Yes.
do like the unreliable narrator, I mean, because it's one of those where everyone could be guilty or could
Mhm.
have done it, including Lucy, and she's trying to figure that out too because she has no memory of what actually happened that night, but she was definitely there. And it's almost like, well, if she spends the time to figure out, if she really tries to figure out, she could uncover that she killed her best friend.
Right.
So, and like, does she want to do that? Does she want to find that out? But at the same time, she wants to know what happened and all of these other people, and everyone thinks she did it. And so you could also clear your name. So it was really good. Highly recommend, especially for this season. Okay. And then last but not least, I have a fantasy for us, of course, and I do have them. They're all right there. I just don't have them at my desk, but they're all right there. So, I'm gonna talk about Guild, which is book 1 in the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. And this is also from Goodreads, so shout out Goodreads. Gold. Gold floors, gold walls, gold furniture, gold clothes. In Highbell, in the castle built into the frozen mountains, everything is made of gold, even me. King Midas rescued me, dug me out of the slums, and placed me on a pedestal. I'm called his precious, his favored. I'm the woman he gold touched to show everyone that I belong to him, to show how powerful he is. He gave me protection, and I gave him my heart. And even though I don't leave the confines of the palace, I'm safe. Until war comes to the kingdom and a deal is struck. Suddenly, my trust is broken, my love is challenged, and I realize that everything I thought I knew about Midas might be wrong. Because these bars I'm kept in, no matter how gilded, are still just a cage. But the monsters on the other side might make me wish I'd never left.
Ooh.
Okay, so has anyone read this?
I've
No, but I've
not.
seen it everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So, oh my goodness, let me just say, this is okay. So it's a King Midas reimagining, obviously, and a completed adult fantasy. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be left on a cliffhanger, there are 6 books in total. They're all available. Like, it's done. It's done. And yes, I did read 4 of them in 2 weeks. So I only have 2 left. So I'm not gonna say a whole lot because like I really don't want to spoil it. And I will also say that I would definitely recommend that you approach this first one, Guild, as like a prequel. Like I don't even know that you want to think about it as book 1. I like to think of it as a prequel because it is all set up and world building in one location. Like the world gets a lot bigger, but world building and it is all set up. I personally didn't find it boring. I've read some reviews where people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's just a bunch of world building, blah 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 blah." Well, yeah, obviously, like there needs to be that. And the setup for this is just taking you into books 2 and 3. So I didn't find it boring at all. I actually thought it quite interesting, although, and I'm going to say this multiple times, like quite graphic and very intense. So, book 2 and 3 is where the story really picks up. New characters are introduced that become main characters through the rest of the series. We explore other parts of the world. We really get into the history of the female main character, the male main characters, this world, and the politics. This is definitely like heavy on the politics when it comes to this world that's been created. But if you enjoy romantasy, fae worlds, political intrigue, and want a completed fantasy series to put on your list, this one should definitely be there. But just
Say
to like
less. It's there.
reiterating, like trigger warnings galore from page 1, chapter 1. I wasn't expecting that. So I would just say like maybe don't go in super blind. It is definitely an adult fantasy series. Like I know some people, well, and I don't think it should be, but like ACOTAR and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, like YA." It's not YA. This is an adult fantasy. Very, very much so, like period, full stop. So, but it has been super fun. So, like I liked the setup. I think the King Midas retelling is really interesting. I know nothing more about him other than the fact that, the gold. That's literally all I knew, and that's all you need to know. But it's been really fun. So I'm hopeful that I'll finish the last two here before the end of the year. We'll see.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know how you end the series and what you think. It does sound very, I mean, I wouldn't have thought of going in that direction, but I mean, it sounds intriguing to me. Absolutely.
I have to say, Brie, I think one of the last fantasy books you brought to the pod was the Night and the Moth, which I also finished last month, and Chef's Kiss, absolute
Literal masterpiece.
masterpiece. Cannot wait for the next one. So if this is also on your recommended like completed adult fantasy list, it is now moving up on mine because I loved The Night and the Moth and your recommendations on that one.
Totally different vibe, totally different
Mhm.
storytelling. But I was ready to be immersed in something, immersed in a fantasy world, and not be left on a cliffhanger that I'm like, oh shoot, when's the next one coming? Like, is it coming in 2 years, 3? Do we know? Does anyone know? And this one,
Where's the sixth ACOTAR book? I'm just
it,
kidding. But am
yeah.
I?
So and this one had been on my TBR for a while, and I kind of dug into it a little bit more, and I was like, you know what? Let's give it a go. And I'm really glad I did.
Amen.
You'll have
I
to
love
let me know once you start it. Let me know what you think.
I feel like I
Yeah.
have so many fantasy series because I personally, I'm a like seasonal reader, so I love to read fantasy more in fall and winter because it's just nice when it's, dark and spooky and gross outside to escape. And I have so many fantasy series this fall, winter that
There's a lot of
like
really good ones.
there's a lot of
There's
great ones out there. Yeah.
because you have Spark of the Everflame on your list
So
too,
I
don't
have
you?
Spark of the Everflame. I have Heartless Hunter.
So good.
I have the One Dark Window duology.
I
That
do
should be
wanna
above
read that
everything
one.
else.
I knew you were going to say
I
that,
do
that
wanna
one.
read that one too.
That should be above everything.
Guild now. There's another one that I'm totally
That
those
was
4.
fantasy?
Mhm.
Trying to remember.
Quicksilver. Would you guys yeah,
Oh, duh.
duh. Quicksilver and Brimstone. Those so
There you go.
that like I think will carry me into the next several winters as we keep going.
I love it.
Like,
That is
Well,
too
the
funny.
one Dark Window, like in Two Twisted Crowns, is a duology. You'll knock those out super fast. So
it's
you'll
funny.
not those.
I feel like you guys see front row seats to this is it's always like, "Oh my gosh, it's so long." It's like Megan you were saying, a 20-hour audiobook or, it's like this thick. And then you get into the story and it's like,
It
"Wow, I
is thick.
finished that in
Oh,
4 days."
for sure.
Yeah, okay.
For sure.
On to the
Well, I
next.
mean, even like Emily, when did we start Alchemized?
Oh yeah.
On Saturday, I
Mhm.
think. Like, did I
Mhm.
text you on Saturday?
Yeah.
Today is Tuesday, and I'm like 560 pages in.
Oh my gosh, you are so you were like
Well,
Yeah.
I
that's
just
what
texted
Emily
you.
that's what
I
Emily
did
did
that
to me with our buddy read as
so bad.
well.
I kept
But
texting
we'll talk
Jordan.
about that. Well, yes, go ahead.
No, I feel it was funny because Bree, you were like, I've started, I'm going. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I was doing the same Jordan to you, like, are you done with the familiar yet? Are you done with the I think we've all done it to each other.
I was like, all day today, I was like, I should probably tell her, like, where I'm at. And now I am.
Yeah. I just started part 2. So I'm on 280 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I have to laugh because the only way I get to this is a funny story time, and then I know we're wrapping up. For my son to fall asleep, he wants usually mom or dad, but usually mom recently to like sit with him. And so we'll read a few of his books and then he needs to like fall asleep. And so I'll bring Alchemized in there to read by like phone light while I wait for him to fall asleep. And a couple of times he's been like, "Mom, that's a big book. What's your book about?" And I'm like, "An adventure." like, like, big adventure. You should go to sleep.
You mean you're not reading out loud to him,
Oh no, oh no!
Emily?
It's
Like,
actually this one. He did want me to read out loud when I was like doing the same thing, and this is totally safe for certain passages to read out loud to your kid, and then he fell asleep. Would not say the same of Alchemized. So,
No.
yeah.
well, see,
No,
Megan
no.
and I are on the same page of Alchemized as well. We're on.
We're buddy reading nothing.
Now you know what it is. And this is what happens sometimes
That's
when
true.
somebody reads ahead of you.
I
Yes.
don't feel like I'm a very good buddy reader because, like, yeah, I just if
You're
I'm
not
really
you're not a good buddy reader when you finish a book?
Call that.
yeah, I do.
It's all right. Emily's not either.
No, sorry,
Which
Jordan.
makes us the perfect pair to do
There you
this.
go.
with.
Or the worst pair to do a buddy read.
Maybe we do need to try this.
We could.
I
That's too funny.
I can't help it. And the people we meet on vacation was an accident. It was not.
All right.
That was also like 200 pages. Like,
Yes,
was I
yes.
really not supposed to finish?
Snack. It's like an afternoon snack with a cup of tea.
Honestly,
yeah.
you're talking about something like Alchemized that's like hundreds and hundreds of pages. People we meet on vacation, I mean, that literally in comparison, that is a snack.
Not
Come on.
only is it over 1,000 pages, but I don't know if I can fully explain to you like how complex it is. I mean, like I did to when I was only like 150 pages and I was texting Emily, we were talking about it, and I was like, I honestly don't know if I fully understand what's going on, but I'm just like I'm rolling with it, and I'm just here, and I'm gonna just like I'm gonna try to understand it, but I don't actually know that I fully comprehend what's going on.
It's like, do you ever read those books that you just need like the wave of information just crash over you like multiple times until it just sinks in? Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's talks about metal bending. So I'm almost like Avatar vibes a little bit.
Okay.
But right, so certain people have an aptitude to bend, gold or steel or like aluminum or alloys or, things like that. So talk about research again, like that goes into, we talked about earlier this episode, right? The research on how to
Yes.
manipulate metals. And then some of that comes into this story. It's wild. I've definitely reread several things like, wait, what? Yeah.
You're like, what just happened? That's so funny.
Awesome. Well, this was another wonderful selection and so many great picks for fall, so many good books for fall. And more to come this month as well. So we will be reading book 3 in the American Royals series. We have Rivals. Oh shoot, I have it in the other room. I was
It is
like,
Rivals. Yes.
okay. I'm like, which one is it? I'm only on chapter 8, so it's okay. I have time. We have that coming up. We have another author interview coming up this month too. So 2 in the same month, which is amazing. And then we will have a special spooky episode with some Halloween spooky season fall recommendations for you. So be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode wherever you're listening to this podcast. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Narratives and Nightcaps, and visit our new website and sign up for our newsletter that's coming, our brand new website, which I look at it every day to just feel like I love you. Yes, 100%. So everyone else should too, and sign up for the newsletter so that we can have some exciting things in your inbox later this year. And then be sure to follow our other co-hosts as well.
Yes, you can find me, Jordan, over on Instagram at Cozy Reads and Sips.
And you can find me, Emily, at books.bottles.
Thanks so much for listening. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.